This is the Earth, the planet and our solar system that we live on. However, our planet is not on a good path for continuing to sustain life the Earth is facing. The accelerating detrimental effects of climate change, also referred to as global warming. Well, what is exactly is climate change? Climate change is defined as a long-term change in the Earth's overall temperature with massive and permanent ramifications. Climate scientists believe that this is not caused naturally by the Earth but by human activities. Earth's atmosphere consists of gases such as oxygen, nitrogen, and greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, and methane. Incoming light from the sun hits the Earth's surface. The rest of the energy gets reflected. Some of the energy goes back on into space. The greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide trap the energy and send it right back to the Earth's surface, heating it up even more. This is known as the greenhouse effect. Some of the human activity that emits greenhouse gases are fossil fuel burning, animal agriculture and deforestation, and waste and recycle pollution. Burning fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas, as well as gasoline, for some of the largest pollutants of carbon emissions. Not only that, but when fossil fuels are burned and their gas is mixed with heat, they create smoke, a thick air pollutant that is highly toxic. Bulldozing land and deforestation not only emits greenhouse gases, but it gets rid of plants, trees, and forests, the things on our planet that actually absorb carbon dioxide. The more we deforest our Earth, the less carbon dioxide it can absorb from our atmosphere. The average person produces 4.3 pounds of trash per day. That is 1,569 pounds of trash per year for one person. With the 7+ billion people that live on the globe, that is 11.6 trillion pounds of trash dumped into landfills every year.
Climate change is already impacting every continent and ocean on the planet. Human activities like the burning of fossil fuels have increased the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere by more than a third since the Industrial Revolution. The rapid increase in greenhouse gases in the atmosphere has warmed the planet at an alarming rate. While Earth's climate has fluctuated in the past, atmospheric carbon dioxide hasn't reached today's level in hundreds of thousands of years. Climate change has consequences for our oceans, our weather, our food sources, and our health. Ice sheets such as Greenland and Antarctica are melting. The extra water that was once held in glaciers causes sea level to rise and spills out of the oceans, flooding coastal regions. Warmer temperatures also make weather more extreme. This means not only more intense major storms, floods, and heavy snowfall, but also longer and more frequent droughts. These changes in weather pose challenges. Growing crops become more difficult. Due to drought included starvation, many wildlife animals shift their places for searching for food, and water birds also migrate to move from area to another area for their resources. Polar bears are starving because of melting sea ice. They need sea ice to hunt seals as their main source of food. In addition to creating new agriculture challenges, climate change can directly affect people's physical health in urban areas. The warmer atmosphere creates an environment that traps and increases the amount of smoke. This is because smoke contains ozone particles which increase rapidly at higher temperatures. Exposure to higher levels of smoke can cause health problems such as asthma, heart disease, and lung cancer.
Let's move deeper into how climate change affects the Asian countries. So, Asian regions. Asia is regularly identified as one of the most impacted and hardest hit by the global warming or climate change. The UN Framework Convention on Climate Change has been identified and also said that the Asians' large population and the frequency of natural disasters, and then moreover sometimes the chaotic process of urbanization in Asian regions are the main sources for this. Main factors that the Asia, especially being vulnerable to the risk of climate change. As one of the climate change is rising temperature, which will cause the Himalayan glaciers to melt and also cause of increasing in risk of floods and also landslides during the monsoon season. This long-term or permanent disappearance of these glaciers could affect the flow of major Asian rivers such as Yangtze, Mekong and Brahmaputra rivers. Moreover, melting of polar ice caps also could affect the sea level rise, which is expected to be rise 1 to 3 meters by 2100. Specifically in China, it could affect the 3-meter rise of the sea level would affect the 52 million people. Up to 71,000 square kilometers of China coastal areas could left underwater. On the other hand, cyclones and typhoons such as Haiyan, which kill more than 6,000 people in Philippines, also becoming stronger due to the temperature rise at sea. And some of the major cities such as Jakarta, Manila, Bangkok, and etc. could affect because of cyclones and typhoons. This climate change also has impacts on food supply. Most of the low-lying deltas in South and Southeast Asia that produce 88% of the world's rice supply are under risk of disappearing under the sea. In Vietnam, just half a meter of sea level rise can endanger most of the Mekong River deltas, which eventually could affect half of the country's rice supply, says the Asian Foundation. Finally, the World Bank also has forecasted that half of the South Asia will see a decline in living standards due to the rise in temperature, which will impact the agriculture productions and also trigger mass migration.
How to overcome climate change? There's many ways to overcome climate change, including reduce emissions, implement 3R, and lastly, save forests and oceans. First, reduce emission by transportation. Instead of using cars and motorcycle, we can drive less by walking, ride a bike, take a public transportation or carpool. This way, you are splitting emissions between the number of people in the car. It also can reduce traffic congestion and reduce air pollution. Next, stopping fossil fuel burning such as coal, oil, natural gas, and gasoline. To reduce, we can replace with sustainable and renewable energy. Solar and wind power will always available and eco-friendly because it can reduce carbon footprint. Second, implement 3R sustainability. 3R stands for reduce, waste reduction and waste prevention. Reuse a product more than once either for the same purpose, for example returnable glass milk bottles, or for a different purpose such as old jam jars for food storage. And recycle, to manage waste materials once they have been generated if they can't be reused, to prevent waste from being sent to landfill. Example of implement 3R. For reduce, we can use energy efficient appliances and switch off any electric appliances unless necessary, and compost food to change it into rich soil. Next, reuse refillable bottles, reusable grocery bag, stainless steel straw, spoon, fork, or even chopstick. As for recycle, we can recycle soda cans, cardboard, box, or any newspapers and magazine. Lastly, saving forests and oceans. First, logging restrictions. We must stop destroying giant trees. Destroy giant trees could be sucking up huge amount of carbon that can cause climate change, flooding, soil erosions, and increase greenhouse gases. Next, Restore nature by planting new trees, new mangrove, creating white space in our garden or community, and stopping chemical fertilization. Did you know that mangrove is important to the ecosystem? Mangrove provide natural infrastructure and protection to nearby populated areas by preventing erosions and absorbing storm surge impacts during extreme weather. Lastly, saving oceans. By remove ocean plastic from the waste stream, restore coral reef, and stop overfishing. Fish populations and ocean habitats are severely threatened beyond capacity to recover from the devastating impacts of overfishing. The livelihood of fish-dependent communities can also adversely impacted. That's all from us. Thank you.